Hi. So when I was making this presentation, I had basically two choices: to make it like more boring one, or to just tell you a few cool stories. I chose boring type, to be honest. So yeah, you are lucky today. Yeah, but in general, what I can tell about myself. So I'm a partner in VC. I created this VC. I fundraised basically in the VC. Yeah, so the most complex part here is, of course, VC fundraising. If you want to fundraise your own VC, I definitely can tell you not to do it, not to create your own VC at all, because it's a nightmare. But if you are persistent enough, yeah, you can basically survive and achieve the point that we achieved. Right now, we have 35 million under management. We have LPs from, for example, co-founders of Wargaming and Flow. But yeah, the road is, I would say, better do startups than VCs, because there are so many VCs out there and it's much harder to pitch. Yeah, but yeah, I would be happy to tell you more about startups and yeah, maybe fundraising in startups. In terms of the fuck-ups, I haven't read any business books, to be honest. I always came up with certain ideas based on my intuition, validated them, and then I'm trying to speak about them and to give certain perspective. So this is one of my favorite concepts, and if you want to just leave in 1 minute, I would say this concept is the best single concept that you can use. The main fuck-up that I've seen so far in numerous startups I've met everywhere is they are trying to play this startup game, but they're not trying to score. They don't care about points. They just playing. They are acting like they're startuppers. They're trying to fundraise. They are going to meetups, etc. But to be honest, I don't see any real points earned. And that's what I'm trying to tell every startup that comes to me and says like, oh, we need to fundraise, we need to help me with the presentation, help me. But when most of the times, I don't see any real, let's say, score of the startup that they earned to this moment. And I always tell one thing: try to think about anything you can do that will give you value. Anything that, for example, here I just you can look at the list. All the things give you certain points. Yeah, of course, revenue and users is a top of the list. Yeah, investments are good, but they're not as valuable. Partnerships, pilots, contracts, letter of intent. Even if you can't sell, get, I don't know, 10 letter of intents, letters of intent. It will be already something, and you will be able to start speaking with someone. But you can't just raise just using your product. And to be honest, of course, I failed, and I did this fuck up myself multiple times. It's always, everyone thinks that you need to start building right away, and it's the right move. This time it will work. It never works. Like, of course, there are certain anomaly percentile when you hear about startups that build something and then sold something. But most of the time, it's impossible. You will never get VC money. You will never get clients if you will just build it. And even more, your team will lose all the motivation, because they will put all the effort in the building, not in the selling. Right now, we are living in the easy to build, hard to sell world. Before, we lived in the hard to build, easy to sell. So we need to understand, we are not in the 90s, we are not in the, it's not 2010, it's 2024. So I would say every action that you do within the startup game, you need to understand what points you will get back, what it will give you. If it will increase the reputation of your startup or not. You need to, if you will make a few wrong moves, your team will burn out, you will lose faith, and your startup will be destroyed. This is probably and this fuck up, I see this over and over and over. Like everyone just keep doing that, just playing and building something and going to meetups instead of truly trying to earn these points. And another thing I want to say about the score, your goal actually is to achieve certain threshold after this threshold, you will have everything. Investors, clients. The only way to achieve it is to add points to this score. And it's a creative process. Each startup is different. For a scientific startup, it can be patents. For B2C startup, it can be a launch with super small amount of the audience, but still with live users. With B2B, it's LOIs, letters of intent, or pilots. So it's really different, but the idea is the same. Yeah. So yeah, so this it's really important, and I know that I spent so much time on this first slide, but I mean, I just want you to think about it, and yeah. So the second big fuck up that I see is it's somewhat related to the first one, but not really. It's like you need to actually move step by step. You don't need to set up big goals. I understand it contradicts with a lot of people saying, "Oh, think big, global vision." I'll be honest, it's total bullshit. Your first step should be the smallest possible step you can imagine. You need to build this foundation. You need to make the step, build foundation around the step, and then start moving forward. That's it. Each step is, and I tried to use the game analogy here in this presentation, and I think save games, like, you know, when you save the game in any video game, you kind of save your progress. So each step that you do should be kind of save game for you. Yeah, you can fail with the next step. You can always get back, and on the foundation you already built with the results of the previous step. It's really important. I'll try to probably give you example. For example, if you already got I don't know, the first B2B client, you will never be in the situation when when an investor will tell you, "Oh, you haven't sold to anyone. Yeah, do you think it's even needed?" Or something like that. It's a step that it's your save game. Yeah, so you already have this. You can't go back. If you already raised your first pre-seed round, even if it's friends and family, even if it's some angel that gave you 50K, it's already something. You already fundraised. You are not startup that raised zero. So you need to choose these steps really carefully, because I always see startups who are trying to close big client right away, who are not interested in the small clients. I would say it's super fuck up, right? So if startups are trying to raise from big VCs right away, it's also you need to raise from local VCs, super small checks, or even better, angels. 10, 20K is also good checks. You need to kind of climb this mountain step by step, and use each step as a foundation. Yeah, and don't rush. The final. I tried to also use this game analogy. The final boss will be there. Trust me, he won't run away. You will have this big fight on the top of the mountain later, but not at the beginning. He's not. Don't try to fight with this boss right away. Yeah. So. Third topic, it's the most boring, I would say. It's legal. To be honest, I hate everything related to legal, but I need to, as a VC partner and as a previously founder, I failed so many times. So I just want to tell you, like, my main concerns that I had and ideas that I think you need to have in your head before doing this, before doing any startup. So first of all, understand all interests of all the parties. For example, investors, they want one thing, yeah? So your team wants another thing. And your clients, it's everyone, it's like a game theory from the mathematics. Everyone wants different things. If you want track all this interest, you will get lost. For example, I can give you one of the pretty famous like fuck-ups of one of the startups I know. They had a M&A deal, and the lawyer they got on the deal, he got a percentage from the deal, and they didn't really care about any terms. They cared only about the price of the deal. And what this lawyer did, he made the terms when the price is good, but they first of all, they get these payments gradually over 5 years, I think. Second, they need to spend 5 years in the company, but he receives his big cut. Yeah, so it's for them it was a surprise, but they just haven't read exact terms. It's stupid, but it exists. Another big fuck up, and I don't want to name the startup, but you probably heard about it. It's your tax residency. When you do exit, make sure your tax residency won't cut 30-40% from your income. Yeah. Yes, maybe you will need to move to Cyprus for 1 year. Yeah, or somewhere else, or Dubai, whatever. But still, if you need to understand that there will be tax consequences, and if you don't want to give away 40%, think ahead. Yeah. So stay compliant with laws. Yeah, just don't try not to. Trust me. Like you can get huge problems with the law, even just by doing startups and failing the regulations. Just try to consult with legal specialists. Yeah, equity. It's all this so many startups were destroyed because of the internal conflicts based on equity. Like, try upfront to discuss everything with the team, advisors, roles, etc. And I understand you heard this so many times. Still, I always see the startups that when one founder thinks he did everything, the second one thinks he did everything. They don't agree about the shares. They split up. Yeah, they need to discuss everything upfront. Yeah. So understand contracts and read them before signing. If you're a B2B startup, read carefully every line. There can be surprises. Yeah. So templates. A lot of startups don't use legal specialists at all. They just use templates. You probably did the same. You download a template of service agreement. You just edit it a little bit. You send to the client. I mean, a lot of times it can cause the problems. Just, I would say, find a friendly lawyer that will charge you, I don't know, friendly price. That's the only way to survive. I'll be honest. You won't be able to hire a law firm. You know, let's be honest. And the last one about handshakes. It's actually one of the VC fuck-ups I had because, the handshake is the concept when there is no legal documents. Yeah, you just agree on something. Yeah, for example, we had the situation when we agreed to invest in one startup. It actually was Y Combinator startup. And then the startup was lost. Like, we texted them. They were like, oh, we're doing restructuring. They came to us 1 year later saying, well, you gave us commitment. It was just handshake. And yeah, we were forced to invest in them because we haven't specified the time for our commitment. If we would say, yeah, we agreed to invest, but it's only like our commitment is active only 2 months, for example. Yeah, we would just say, okay, we told you this time frame, but we haven't told the timing, and then we were basically forced to do it. But we were lucky because the startup is growing like crazy. But it's coincidence. Why Combinator startups, they treat handshake really seriously. I would say the whole California treats it like it's even more important than the written document. Yeah, so be really careful with what you say, what you promise, etc. Especially with dealing with Silicon Valley. Yeah. So the last part, it's also, you heard this probably multiple times, but yeah, like in games, you know, there are different fractions, like, I don't know, maybe certain different camps or something. So, and you need to maintain a reputation with them. The same here. You have investors, you have your team, you have advisors. Speak with all of them. Be transparent, And the only way to win is to have good relationship with all of them, especially investors. I can tell you, for example, that a lot of companies that I've seen, they are not sending investor updates. And the things can go really good in the company, but they're just silent about that. And all the investors, trust me, they think that the company is dead, or almost dead, or something is wrong is going on. For example, if you just speak with investors, investors can help you if you need extra money or something like that. If you don't speak with investors, nothing will happen. So even more, I would say that send updates as much as you can. It's really good investment of the time. Yeah. So company culture. Yeah. I won't say that. I don't want to discuss company culture in a Silicon Valley way, when you need to like everyone is your friend. You need to be, I don't know, a rainbow pony, etc. No. There can be different company culture. I've seen culture when people yell at each other. I understand it's considered like Eastern European, actually, but sad but true, right? But there should be culture and people you hire, and even if you join other, you need to understand if you're a good fit, because it's really important to understand it from the start. This is real concept. The culture exists, and it's just different. It can be everyone is super polite, everyone is yelling. It doesn't matter. But what matters is like if you fit there. And as a founder, your mission is to understand what culture is forming in your company, and to make it so it will be comfortable. First of all, for you. To be honest, company culture is founders' product. It should be comfortable for them. They will find employees of every type exist. It's possible to find them. But as a founder, you need to understand that you are not fooling yourself. That your culture is who you are. That's it. And last thing I want to mention is transparency. I understand that a lot of you work in tech companies, for example. You want to understand the logic behind the decision making of the management, of top management, of founders. It's common thing. For some reason, when tech people from tech companies become founders, for some reason they forget about this and they stop sharing their decision making and the logic behind the certain processes to the employees, and it's a huge problem. Most of the, let's say, rage quits of employees are based on we don't understand what they're doing, like in terms of founders. So if you can be transparent as much as you can. You can't be fully transparent. If you will tell a fully transparent story, no one will work with you, because most of the time it's like this. If you will tell the truth to investors, to employees, it's too bad. You can't be fully transparent, but try to be as transparent as you can. It will give you results. Trust me. So yeah, I would say that's it. I don't know how much time do I have, but yeah, maybe I can answer more questions.
Yeah, you have your time, a lot of time. Thank you very much, Sergey, for a nice presentation. I know the story behind this presentation, and it's really nice how you could make it happen. Yeah, you're cool. And
cool.
So cool. So guys, folks, we have a ticket, this one, and you have Sergey who can answer your questions. Raise your hands. Okay.
Great presentation, thank you. So my question about shares. Let's say there is a startup and there are two founders. Founder A, he pays for everything. So all the expenses are on him. And another founder, he's responsible for operations, for like CPO, CMO, COO. So in this case, how will you define the shares fairly? How to share the business?
This, from the cases I've seen, most of the time there is, I would say, like money-back co-founder and tech co-founder. For example, I've seen cases when they split 50-50. Yeah, so it exists. It's one of the common practices. I wouldn't say it works properly, but it's something. It exists. I've seen this multiple times. Yeah, I would say that from my perspective, I think I would rather split it between the founders in certain proportion based on how much they work. For example, how much of full-time hours, part-time hours they spend, and I would make a certain investment round. Maybe even you can calculate later the amount of investments, but and make super small valuation, like I don't know, maybe 500K, for example, valuation, and to treat maybe even 100K valuation. I don't know, depends on how much money you need to spend, and treat these investments from the first founder as extra as investments, so he can get his investment share separately from your founders. I think it's much more fair when you treat investments and time spent on the startup separately. Yeah, I hope it's clear. Mm-hmm.
I can do it. I can do it.
Yeah, the guy with glasses.
So, which one would you pick?
This one. Yeah.
This one.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Sergey. Well, we've been talking a lot about, fuck-ups of startups. What about the VCs? The top 3 fuck-ups that you know when it comes to VC.
Mm-hmm. Mostly VCs, they just buy big name. They see the big names and they don't care about the rest, and they invest, but at the same time, the valuation is higher and there is nothing inside, I would put it this way. I've seen this. I think it's a top one fuck-up that I've seen. The second one is they are taking, it's really related to Poland probably, because a lot of Polish VCs, they take local money from government, and they need to invest in Poland. Or like, for example, Portugal also gives a lot of money. You need to invest in Portugal. Let's be honest, there are almost no investment targets in Poland to Portugal, yeah, compared to, for example, US or even UK, etc. It's a huge problem. It's a dilemma. But I would say that if you want to build your VC like reputation, etc., don't start with local markets. Start with US. Yeah, that's why we invest only in top Silicon Valley. For example, we invest only in top Silicon Valley accelerators. All our partners are also alumni of top Silicon Valley accelerators. I'm alumni of Berkeley SkyDeck, for example, and we invest only there, mostly Y Combinator. It's our first VC. We're first-time GP. That's the only way to survive. Yeah, I can't invest in Poland. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, so later, yeah, I think there is a lot of potential, but to build first results, to build reputation that VC needs, you need certain super fast-growing space. Yeah, and then you can branch out certain local branches. That's my perspective. But in top 3, I need to think. To be honest, yeah, I think these two are enough. But I will think more. VC, there are a lot of, trust me, there are a lot of bad VCs out there. Yeah, so they fail all the time, and yeah. So, but yeah, I don't have third idea right away. Yeah, maybe I'll tell you later. Mm-hmm.
Thanks for presentation. So let me understand, because I am from startup side. As VC, why you need good reputation? How it works for you? Is it make for you additional leads, or so? What is the goal?
Okay, I'll try to explain. So basically, the way VC works, actually, maybe you don't know, but imagine you have a bucket, and you collect money from your investors to this bucket, and then from this bucket, you give it money to the startups. So the only way people will be giving you money in this first bucket, the first transaction, if you have good reputation and you have good returns, if your portfolio companies are growing. You can't raise second VC, for example, if your first VC hasn't performed. It's impossible. So that's why your first VC is the most important thing you are doing. You need to basically spend sleepless night and build the best portfolio you can, because the rest of your life, if you want to stay in VC, the first fund will work for you. The results of the first fund will work for you. Yeah, and actually, I think the VCs are spending at least 50% of their time on speaking with investors to VC. No one knows it probably, but yeah, they're called LPs or limited partners, and it's really challenging process. It's much more challenging than startups raising from VC, because startup can close just one check. VC need to close, well, maybe a few dozen checks at least from different high net worth individuals, family offices, or institutions or banks to the fund, so they can invest in the startups they believe in. So yeah, it's yeah. I hope it's clear.
The white T-shirt.
Hey, do you hear me? Thanks for the presentation. And as a person with like a lot of experience in VC, you definitely know that nowadays there are still a lot of people who trying to go into a VC story with like some agency model or something like that. So with your background, with your experience, what would be the most valuable factors when you will say, oh, you know, this is definitely a VC story and you need to go into VC capital? And so for like young people, for people who are trying to build startups and they dream about VC story, right? So what would be your main factors of saying, oh, you know, you actually need to go into VC story?
And when you say VC story, you mean startup that is raising money from
Yeah.
VCs?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And when you went to agency, you meant like studio type of business?
Yeah.
Well, I would say the main thing, if you can convince yourself that your revenue will skyrocket, like literally skyrocket, and if it's not, if it's more close to, if it's B2B, if you're speaking about, if it's, I don't want to go in this subject of like service business versus B2B business. It's really complicated subject. I've seen a lot of startups that are on the edge of this too. But if you can convince that the revenue will skyrocket and you can consider yourself B2B business, go VC road. Why not? I don't see any reason not to try to fundraise. That's it.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I hope.
The last very small question, very like, who has it? Everyone has it. Okay.
Thanks for your tips. I'm here. What is the most interesting pivot that you saw? I mean, successful pivot.
Okay. Let me think. Yeah, I had a few pivots from my portfolio companies. Okay, I can tell you, because I've seen so many pivots, but I probably will tell you about one of my portfolio companies. It's a Y Combinator startup called RightPage. They were doing the support, LLM-based support for complicated cases. Basically, they were doing LLM advisor to the support agent that has a dashboard with different info that can speed up the process of answering significant amount of times. They had a lot of pilots, they had revenue. When they scaled, they had a problem with privacy of data. That's the main, it killed them basically. And instead of just slowly dying, they decided to switch to completely different subject. Both of them had they worked in pharma companies previously. And they called themselves Maven Bio. And they started doing analytical platform for pharma companies. And literally, like, this is not support and business intelligence platform for pharma companies. We haven't invested in the Maven Bio, but yeah, we became shareholders of Maven Bio. And they're really successful. They're tracking clinical trials, publications, etc. And they already work with multiple pharma companies. And it's probably one of this miracle, unexpected pivots that had. And last thing I would say, sometimes there are also spin-offs. Some companies produce spin-offs. For example, one of our companies, Impossible Metals, they are doing underwater robots that do seabed mining. They had a spin-off that is doing bacterial extraction of rare metals from the ore, really successful one. And they split off to separate company, and we became shareholder of bonus company. Just it's like not always pivots, also spin-offs are really exciting thing when you don't expect to be invested in this. Okay, I think I'm done.
Making this pressure, but we have time. Yeah, thank you very much again for answering the questions.
Okay.
Who is the winner? The one who has tickets?
He already has ticket, yeah?
Yeah.
So you have 2 tickets. Okay, then let's do the last one about. But you have ticket, right? Okay. I'll stick to my.
You can present. Yeah. Okay. Woo! Congrats.